Maverick fans, what's going on? Welcome into Chat Sports. Look, I'm finally back with some Dallas Mavericks news and a bit of rumors too. So we're going to hit on everything swirling around Mavs Nation right now. Starting out with this trade scenario that just keeps getting kicked around and I'm so tired of it, but we're going to talk about it. Okay, so here's the proposed trade. And let me start by saying this. This was proposed by Bleacher Report in an idea, just an idea that could work. Not something that's been talked about, just simply that this could financially work. It's Chris Paul to Dallas for Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee, obviously going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chris Paul then coming to Dallas in return. Now, look, Chris Paul is not the same Chris Paul he was in New Orleans or even when he got to Houston the first time around. This is a different CP3. If you told me, hey, we're getting LA Clipper CP3, I'd be stoked, but we're not getting that. We're getting a totally different player. Look, last year with the Houston Rockets, he only played in 58 games. He scored 15.6 points per game, 8.2 assists, so he's still a good ball handler, still good at dishing out the rock, but at the end of the day, if you can't stay healthy and you're a veteran point guard making too much money, you don't make sense for this Dallas Maverick team. That's what Chris Paul is. He can't stay healthy. He's older. He needs the ball in his hands to be successful. And we already know who's going to have the ball in his hands. It's Luka Doncic. So why would you take it out of his hands to give it to Chris Paul? It just makes no sense to me. This trade is not happening. There's no reason any team would do it. Like, if you look back at Chris Paul, let's just talk about him for a second. He's in Oklahoma City now. He's playing for whatever team he's going to end up on next because I don't think he finishes the year as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee, there's no reason the Thunder would want them, so nobody wins in this scenario. So now we look at the point guards that the Dallas Mavericks do have. You got DeLon Wright, Jalen Brunson, and JJ Barea. DeLon Wright, they signed him this offseason in a sign and trade with the Memphis Grizzlies. They really believe in him. They want him to be the starting point guard next year next to Luka Doncic because number one, unlike Chris Paul, he doesn't need the ball in his hands to succeed. Number two, he is a willing and able defender. And number three, he's a lot younger than Chris Paul. And then Jalen Brunson, they drafted him last year in the second round. He became a key player for them down the stretch, like once Dennis Smith Jr. was gone and Barea went down with injury. They think Jalen Brunson is going to be a quality point guard at some point in the league. I don't think that Chris Paul should take over his spot for the Mavs. They want to see Jalen Brunson really turn into something special, and I believe that he can. And then finally, of course, we got JJ Barea, veteran point guard coming off a torn Achilles. We'll see what he does next season. So you look at the roster for Dallas next year. It's DeLon Wright, Luka Doncic. I believe Justin Jackson gets that starting small forward position. And then it's Kristaps, Porzingis, and Dwight Powell down low. Chris Paul doesn't fit. He just doesn't. There's no reason to have him there. DeLon Wright is the perfect complementary starting point guard next to Luka Doncic. This trade is not happening. But if Dallas should make a trade, maybe there's something down the road, maybe it's closer to the trade deadline, which NBA player should the Mavs make a move for? The guy that I think is still on their radar for now is Andre Iguodala, but I'm not sure how realistic that is at this point. Maybe there'll be some bigger names that come out later on. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So now let's move on to something else. This isn't verified. This isn't completely, we know for sure this is happening, but the Mavs seem to be getting a new court. They're definitely getting a new home court. There's going to be a roster or a little skyline down below, but the other court is like the alternate court, and it's questionable, I think is the best way to put it. You got the graffiti on the end of the sidelines with some blue and green mixed in, and look, I like the blue and green. I like what they're going for there. They're kind of throwing it back to the older colors. I don't understand the graffiti. It just makes no sense to me. You don't need that graffiti there. It looks like a child wrote it. I don't like that, but who knows? Maybe in person it'll look a little bit better than it does to me. And you know, with this new team, you got the new young guys in there with Luka and Porzingis. This is a new era. So it makes sense that they're kind of switching to something newer. I just don't know if this is the right answer with that court. If you haven't seen the court yet, you can go check it out. It's all over Twitter. Just look it up. You can find it. But do you love the new court or do you hate the new court? Because there's no middle ground. People either love it or they hate it. So type L if you love it and type H if you hate it. I'm going to be honest, I'm leaning more toward the hate, but we'll have to wait and see what it looks like in real life. So if you do want to see the new court, maybe you want some other new Mavericks information, whatever you want, maybe highlights, whatever it is, follow all things Mavs on Twitter. I'll be keeping you updated all summer long, all offseason long, and then all season long. I got you there. Go help me get to 13K followers. I'm sitting at about 12,000 right now. So at all_things_Mavs. Now let's move on to another rumor. This one involving a former Maverick, Monta Ellis. So he's been scrimmaging in Dallas. He still plays there. He still hangs out there. New video footage of him playing with Luka Doncic, Isaiah Roby, Justin Jackson, and Dorian Finney-Smith. So is there a return in the works? Well, let's slow down, but let's look at his last, what he did in Dallas. When he was there, he was special. 19 points per game, 4.9 assists, and 3 rebounds. But the thing is, Monta hasn't played since 2016-2017. He's trying to get back into the league, but nothing has happened. And another problem for Monta, even though we all love him, every Dallas Maverick fan absolutely loves Monta. The Mavs have enough two guards. They got Luka. He's a shooting guard next year. I truly believe that. Seth Curry, they hope, is one of their backup two guards. He's a 3-point knockdown shooter. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. You got to figure out how he's gonna work in. And then it's Courtney Lee. And, Courtney Lee, we'll see what they do with him. I think they'll end up moving that contract eventually, but he's still on the roster for now. So maybe you look toward what the end of the roster looks like for the Dallas Mavericks. Maybe Monta can kick one of them off and actually make the team. And you got Ryan Broekhoff. Obviously, he's a sharp shooter out of New Zealand, out of Australia. He's a great shooter, but maybe Monta could be a little bit more than that. I got Courtney Lee here at the end of the roster. I don't think he's going to get a lot of minutes. Isaiah Roby is a rookie. I don't see them cutting him. I think he's going to be a good player for them down the road. And then Dakota Mathias. Now, Mathias isn't even technically on the roster right now. He's more of a training camp invite, so I don't really know if we can count him, but maybe Monta's better than one of those guys. Maybe, just maybe he is. Maybe he helps them win more games than one of those four does right now. So I got to ask you, Mavs Nation, should Dallas bring Monta back? Type Y for yes, type N for no. As much as I love him, as great of a story as it would be, I got to lean no, because Monta needs the ball in his hands. Luka's going to have the ball in his hands. And he's just older. He doesn't really bring a lot to the table. He doesn't bring what he once did. I love him. I hope to see him back in the NBA. I just don't think it's going to be with Dallas. But if he does, if Monta makes some return and miraculously comes back to the NBA, we're going to have it for you right here on Chat Sports. We got all the breaking news all the time, so you want to make sure you are subscribed right now. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV, or just hit the big red button here on YouTube and make sure you're staying up to date with everything we do here on Chat Sports. Let's move into our last little piece for the Dallas Mavericks. It's all about Isaiah Roby, the kid out of Nebraska. Now, if you've been following Chat Sports, if you've been following me, you know that I am all in on this kid. The Mavs drafted him in the second round this past NBA draft with the 45th overall pick. They traded back, so obviously they had the 37th pick, traded back for Roby, and then also got 2 second-round picks in return. And Dallas said they would have taken him at 37 anyway, so why not, right? Look, I like Isaiah Roby. People have been comparing him kind of to Jalen Brunson when it comes to the production he would bring in his rookie year. Now, they're two totally different players. Brunson's a point guard. Roby's more of a 4-3-4 kind of combo guy. But when you look at what they both did in their junior years of college before they were drafted by the Mavericks, Roby put up 12 points per game, 7 boards, really good defensively with 2 blocks per game and 1.3 steals. And then Brunson. Now, Brunson was on another level as a college player. He honestly got disrespected when it came to the draft. He put up 19 points per game, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Not really great on the defensive end, but for Villanova, I mean, he led that team to a national championship. That's why he got drafted. Probably should have been drafted higher now that we look back on it. Maybe, just maybe, Roby can be what Brunson was last year for the Mavericks from more of a forward position. Now, let's look at this player 5, the 5 players that were selected in the same range as Isaiah Roby. It was Isaiah, and then Talen Horton-Tucker went to the Lakers, Iggy Brazdeikis, Terrence Mann, and Quindary Weatherspoon. That's, a bunch of second-round talent. I think Roby's better than all of them right now. Maybe Iggy is a little bit better. We'll see what he can do. I like him. I like Talen Horton-Tucker, but I think overall, Isaiah Roby's going to be up there when it comes to steals in the NBA draft. And that's what we're kind of talking about here, because the NBA rookies were voted. They voted on who the biggest steals were of this NBA draft. So the rookies that were drafted voted on it. And among them, Isaiah Roby got the third most votes. Bull got the most votes. He was selected 44th overall, of course, went to the Denver Nuggets. He fell because of injury. Kevin Porter Jr. was selected 30th overall, so the very end of that first round went to the Cleveland Cavaliers out of USC. He might have some attitude issues, but overall, Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be a great player there. And then third, it was Isaiah Roby, selected 45th overall, just behind Bull. Maybe he is a steal, and maybe the Dallas Mavericks found a diamond in the rough. I'm excited to see what he can do next year. I think he'll spend some time in the G League. He'll bounce back and forth, but I think the Mavs know what they're getting out of Isaiah Roby. So look, he got the third most votes from the rookies. But I want to know from you guys, from the NBA fans, who's going to be the biggest steal of the 2019 NBA draft? Now, I would love to be able to just come out here and be confidently saying Isaiah Roby, but I kind of lean Carson Edwards of the Boston Celtics. He was a great pick in the second round. I think he's going to be a great player next year. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.